Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Now today I wanted to share with you just some insights and tips that I try and do to kind of prepare me anytime I'm going to film a video, give a speech, things of that nature. I know I've shared in some videos in the past how passionate I am about improving my communication. And now that I'm getting back into producing more videos, I thought it'd be a good topic for me to cover and kind of revisit. If you want to go back and look at my video library, the last video I did on this topic was called How to Not Run Out of Things to Say. And it's also a very insightful video because I know many times we tend to struggle with coming up with ideas or topics on certain presentations, or even in a social setting. You run out of ideas of what to say or how to carry the conversation, and it's a really cool video for you to revisit. But with that said, let's jump into this one. Now, like I said, when it comes to communications, there's so many techniques, so many strategies. My personal belief is that there is not a perfect way. That's why, like I said, I'm sharing what works for me and what I've seen work for many people. And many of the techniques or many of the strategies, it's not really rocket science, guys. But I know when it comes to speaking in public, to filming videos, and basically building your character, it can be very challenging, can be very intimidating. So we really tend to get stuck within our heads, within our ideas. But as I mentioned, it's not rocket science. So the first tip I want to give you is to just get started. If you're in a speech club, I've mentioned Toastmasters International as a cool resource. Those kind of places, they really encourage you and give you that slight push that you need to be able to just get up in front of people and tell them, your name, where you're from, what are your passions, hobbies, or interests. And it's a really cool starting point to begin because, like I said, there's no rocket science to this. It's just getting started, sticking with it, and repetition. Likewise with filming these videos, if you sit down and try to force things on paper, it's going to be a little hard for you to script out an entire video. I like to go back and just revisit certain bullet points or ideas that I want to share within the video. And after I've done that, I just kind of let the ideas flow. Speaking of flow, that's actually my tip number 2. So with the just getting started and with the repetition, you will also tap into what we call a flow state. And this is what many people in sports refer to as getting in the zone. It's the same thing. It's basically you tapping into your ideas, into that higher intellect, and believe it or not, into that spirit within you. Because if you have any favorite influencers or other people that you consume content from, it's typically the ones that speak from the heart, that speak with a really deep message, something that really touches the heart, touches the spirit. Those are the people that tend to really progress in content creation, in public speaking. It's no longer all of the structured speeches, and I hate to say it, the corporate jargon, all of these robotic messages that we were accustomed to creating or producing. Now you can kind of relax and just basically find your own flow, your own style. It's cool to have people to look up to. I definitely have those mentors that I look up to, but I don't try and copy them. I might try and mimic maybe their humor, maybe their volume. I love their style, how maybe they're not very monotone, but definitely don't try and copy the style exact. Find your own style, because that's what's going to attract the people that you want to deliver the message to. And you can see it. You can see it on camera when somebody's being themselves, when somebody's trying to copy somebody else's style. And as I mentioned, that really that really shows, that really comes through the camera and the message that you're producing. So, find your own style. You can mimic some of your favorite content creators or mentors that you follow in the beginning, but eventually definitely find your own style. Okay, so along with getting started, repetition, and finding your flow state, you want to make this a consistent endeavor. And there's so many things I can add, and I wanted to keep this video kind of short, but what you want to remind yourself anytime you're having trouble being consistent with improving your communication, remind yourself how important this skill really is. And that's part of what I personally do, because this skill is universal. You might not notice it in the beginning. You may or may not have been aware of it, but this skill of communication really impacts every area of your life. It impacts your career. It impacts your relationships. It impacts your personal growth, because without communication, it's really difficult to be able to express and put your ideas together in order to deliver them through a message. And you really start seeing how this particular skill of communication starts affecting every area of your life, as I mentioned. Let's go back to 2020. If you were used to giving presentations in person, now you had to adapt to virtual presentations. And as I mentioned, if you are in a in-person networking event, you're going to need this skill to be able to communicate, to be able to win people over, and kind of just build a good, honest relationship. So it's a skill that we really take for granted, because growing up through school and just traditional education, we put so much focus on the intellect, which is what I recall from school, and we forget about these in-person communication skills, all of these social skills, because as I mentioned, we're tested on all of this intellect, on all of this historical study or technical study or what have you. And we're never really put to the test on our communication, on our presentation skills, on physical movements and things that contribute to our overall communication. And of course, like I said, this makes us really devalue and forget about how important our communication is. And we put so much focus on just learning and accumulating more information, which is really not going to help us progress that much until we are able to express these ideas and be able to share them and bring them to the world. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to share, like, and subscribe, and we'll definitely see you on the next one.